Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new video, which is the episode analysis for Disventure Camp All-Stars episode 15. Before this begins, a few things to note. The background footage is not owned by me, it is owned by Odd Nation Cartoons. This is also just my personal opinion / analysis. It's completely fine if you have different. For my videos, I do sections to maintain organization and simplicity. The sections for this video are the episode analysis, the Ali / Andrea rant, who's going next, and then the conclusion. Alrighty, without further delay, onto the video with the first section, the episode analysis.
That was fun. Come catch me later, okay, Alec?
The episode begins with the usual recap and intro as it goes to Jake going up to Ali. She invites them to join them as she stretches, as she revels in the fact that, well, she touched grass for an entire month or so. Anyway, the topic switches to how Connor is doing with Ali feeling bad, but this triggers the fact that Ali left Jake as, well, bear meat. Aiden finally realizes that he should probably focus on his individual game. That has basically nothing to do so the entire episode. Then has frustrations opening a coconut as she notices Alec and pulls off her quick acting, which annoys Alec as he goes over to help. When asked, Alec mentions he's been thinking if his ex-wife was right about him, but Rhea pushes him to stay focused on the game. At least someone here is strategic. Thank you, Rhea. Anyways, Alec mentions that maybe he should focus more on emotion. I thought with Alec here, it's actually more to a subtle, maybe he should focus on emotion rather than how direct it was last episode with the I wish I was half the man as you are. Doesn't mean this direction is the one I would have taken myself with Alec as a character, but I'm somewhat intrigued to see how they handle this going forward. Connor then shows up as Alec wants to try and apologize for like the 15th time now, as Rhea kisses Alec to keep Connor's morale low. Alec just cannot win. This scene goes to Gret and Allie. Allie is working out some more as Gret comes. Allie invites her as Gret makes clear she does not want to join, as the entire world, and not just Allie herself, is witnessing it. She makes it clear that she cares about what others think, as Allie thinks this is like her issues. As Gret states she got way worse hate through examples. Allie feels bad about undermining what Gret went through, as Gret, but how she wishes she never listened to online trolls, and how she still gets hate regardless. I'll discuss this dynamic a bit now more later on. We then get a totem announcement. Ali was right. If only she managed to stay in for like 7 more episodes. People then dash off to find it as Alec tries to talk and make sure Gret is still on the villain side. Gret makes it clear that she somewhat isn't anymore due to Alec voting with Yule in episode 13 and saying nothing about the treatment that she was getting to Gret specifically. Even if Alec did try to talk more about how he did talk to Yule about it, somewhat, then I don't think it would have worked in the end, because Gret doesn't have a positive outlook on Alec at all and views him as more of a suspicious guy, more villainous in a sense. So I'm talking about this right now because it'll be important for the who's going next discussion and also a little bit later discussion. In any case, Alec can just not win 2.0. Rhea went with Ali, and as Ali had a little guilt for what she had done, Rhea instantly tells her that she was right in leaving Jake to die. That's Rhea for you. To Jake and Aiden, the two are searching for the totem in the water, as Aiden asks why. Jake says if he were a totem, he'd be in the water, and that is some peak logic right there. Aiden then convinces Jake to go and try and pick up Connor. He then has a confessional around that, as Connor has a pity party, and Jake pulls in the inner Ashley. Let's go. He learns things from Ashley. Yippee! To convince him to start trying again. It works, as Jake has a confessional about this as well. Gret then continues to look for the totem as she realizes that no one's looking one direction, up. She finds the totem trying to climb the tree, but failing in the end. She notices Jake and Connor and then decided to make a deal with them, to work together, and the totem was a sign of trust. Gret's game position now is golden! Since Jake can't climb the tree, okay, but how did he in episode 12 then when his life was in danger? I don't know. Connor then uses his Boy Scout experience to climb the tree, grabbing the idol, and is really happy to do so. Rhea then is upset that she spent a few hours flipping Ali, which is probably the most real thing she's done all season. We then go to see Jake and Aiden has learned how to carry multiple buckets of water. I'm so proud. He's wondering who got the idol, as Jake tells him it was Connor, as the two are happy, and fist bump, at least they've become wholesome. On to Trevor and Emily. Trevor calls her as the two happily talk. Emily mentions how she isn't able to get more jobs nowadays after Crystal fired her, and Trevor mentions she quote-unquote stole Derek from him. Emily then suggests to get some revenge. I really hope Trevor does get the revenge because I don't want to watch more love mess drama. Look, I know Crystal is fully justified in what she's done, but I want entertainment, so. Aiden and Crystal's rivalry continues as the Lunch Center Challenge is announced, and it goes on full swing. Here connects Trevor wanting to bed, just like the old times, as Trevor pushes him off. We then have the first few questions. I'm just gonna personally go through the highlights so this video doesn't go too long. Rhea's strategy I personally adored. Please, Alex's ex-wife, do not let Alex's son watch this. Just do not. Allie really doesn't know why Aiden would like Jake more. Okay, fine. I just, wow. At least Alex's attempts earlier were shown genuine. I really appreciated that. Love the mention that Aiden got rejected from season 1 because it just references the past, and I appreciate that. Aiden not getting mad at Jake after learning he cut out James was something that made me like and respect Aiden a lot more. Rhea having a bit of concern and complexity, I appreciated. Also, the a la Rhea crumbs, thank you. And Rhea getting out right after her arrogance just kind of speaks volumes somewhat. I feel like in the end, this is all leaning towards Rhea x Connor getting back together, which please no. I've never been a fan of this shit personally. I don't think it's gonna work out in the end. I feel like it's a little too toxic for me personally. That's my take. Anyways, Rhea realizing that Connor is her biggest threat. Let's get him out earlier rather than later. Grant is happy and proud to learn she managed to hold up more than 120 pounds, and I really thought that was kind of wholesome. I appreciated Jake winning based off of his honesty and using that to his overall advantage in the challenge. And in the end, Jake wins immunity, with the final two facing off are Allie and Tim. Aiden runs up hugging him as he completed the challenge, but they immediately push away when they realize. After a few confessionals here and there, we go to Rhea going up to Allie. As she's flipping to their side as Allie wonders what's the point. Jake's immune. Rhea suggests to just get one of the other heroes out. It'll hurt Jake regardless, as Allie thinks about it. Alec then goes up to Connor trying to apologize for like the 17th time now. Connor says people talk their issues out like adults instead of how Alec handled it. As Alec makes it clear it's all he's ever known how to do. He walked away from fights. He never was the kind of person to want to discuss emotion. Personally found this interesting. It makes sense for Alec's character. I just wish they did this the episode earlier and didn't go right into it the episode before. Whatever. Either way, Rhea shows up and pushes Connor into the water for whatever reason. I guess for just giggles. I don't know. She wonders why Alec is even talking to him as Connor comes up and the two talk for another time as Rhea laughs at the idea of him winning. She's laughing now, but he probably has one of the highest chances to win right now, I'd say. Makes it clear he's not on her side anymore. He's done this like 3 times now. Woohoo. As Rhea says she doesn't care, slaps his hand and drags Alec away. I can't. Also, can Connor pick a lane, please? Like, one line he's over Rhea, and then the next he's like, nope, I still like Rhea. So, please. Connor then discusses how the heroes are all on top now, saying it's time for everyone to work together here, as all agree. Aiden says they can trust Jake, as Allie is somewhat left out, and Gret goes up to her. Allie apologizes for the early interaction, as Gret gets right to business, forgiving her in the process. The two work together, and Gret votes Allie's way tonight on the deal that Allie does the same for her down the line. Allie agrees, as Gret has a confessional about how she's back in her old villainous self or strategic ways, and I love that for her. At the elimination, it ends up being a 4-3 with Aiden being gone. And the way the heroes instantly knew it was Allie who flipped. I'm sorry, that made me die laughing for a good few minutes. Aiden and Jake then say goodbye as Gret is shown to go to the same tree from earlier and finally be able to do a pull-up. The storytelling here with the animation to me was just so beautifully done, and I hope in the future we get to see more scenes like this. And with the episode ending here, we can now move on to the next section, the Allie and Rhea rant.
That was fun. Come catch me later, okay, Alec?
For this rant, I'm going to start off with Allie. So, something I do want to make clear before this begins, I am not against the idea of an Allie villain arc. I'm a huge villain fan, and especially those who I would consider similar to like Allie's villain arc, whether that be Allie, which is my favorite Disventure Camp character, shocking, and Rhea, who is
Interesting. I'd honestly say I'm more biased towards it than not, so why am I not personally the biggest fan of this? I feel like the first issue is that this entire arc is focusing too much on Jake. Now, obviously her hating Jake can be part of her villain arc. I mean, just look over at Ellie here. But here's the issue. Basically, this is all this is. Every villain act is literally just hating on Jake. She doesn't do anything further from that. And she has not done yet a villain act that is separate from Jake in any manner. Even the turn where she does eventually become a villain, it's just fully focused on Jake, her hatred for Jake. Adrian preferring Jake over her, Jake's comments, it's all Jake, making her seem more of just a Jake hater than anything else you could really add on. To me, I think Ellie perfectly showed like how to add on to like the hatred, but she also had more to that. She had more than just the hatred of Jake, even in Disventure Camp All-Stars, which I'd argue is where she hates Jake the most. The amount of times I've said Jake in the past few seconds. This is obviously really early on in her arc. However, with it seems the direction that her character is going, it seems like it's just the main motivator and will continue to be a huge thing, which I don't think really helps Allie. I wish there was more to it than just, I hate Jake! And I think it goes a little too villain, a little too fast. This girl went from, I'm so sad that I have haters and I've been insecure with it, and was trying to make people happy, and was trying to fully getting over that, or at least mostly getting over that, to literally leaving someone to just die. With how we treated Allie, she's a kind person at heart with insecurities burying her under. And it's always fine to start in villain arc with a villainous act. I mean, how else you gonna do it? But I feel like her leaving someone to die is a little too far, even by her standards or others, because even with the similar characters, you have Rhea and Ellie, they did not start off like this. And even then, the things they did were for strategic purposes, or at least showed a strategic purpose. Which leads into my next point. This thing does not focus on gameplay. Something that this doesn't focus on is the fact that Allie would have gotten fourth if she had just stuck to the heroes. Yes, it's implied, but never directly stated or shown within this. And even in Ellie's turn, it is always pointed out this was a game move. She had to do this for her game. It was required. Given how Allie was wanting to be so strategic earlier in the season, why not take this opportunity? As well as I feel like it would help some of the issue with how it full just focuses on Jake and other things and make her look smarter. Because there's so much emotional to it, I feel like it could help to balance it out with a bit of strategy to add on to it. I wish it was just more directly pointed out here. And because it isn't really done that, it kind of feels just really personal instead of also adding on to the fact it's a game move. For me, this also feels somewhat sudden. Now, was there foreshadowing for this? Absolutely. Allie wanting to side with Fiore earlier, despite what she's done in the past. Allie thinking if she really belongs on the heroes, her hatred for Jake, her resolving, quote-unquote, I'll put in missing quotes because I don't even know her insecurities. Even still, I feel like them doing this turnaround feels like they needed something or someone to pull a Gabby to fit that empty villain spot, so they just kind of gave this to Allie. It feels like a whiplash. Ria's isn't as much, since I'd say there's much more foreshadowing with her. And another issue is the timing, for me personally. Her turn happened this episode, meaning at max, we only get like 6 more episodes, or 6 episodes max, with Allie. Too little time in a sense. And I do think this was sort of an issue with Rhea, and an issue kind of with Allie, but even then, I wish they gave her more spotlight till now, or gave her more of a purpose till now, instead of just being this pushed over side character. Bada bing, bada boom, she's now main villain. This is another issue for her, but that's not. Because in the end, all she's seen as right now is an insecure villainous gamer girl. That's it. It's not adding much personality just yet. And again, I get we're very early on, but still. She didn't have enough interaction beforehand. This could definitely be a tad bit more nitpicky on my part, but I feel like the amount of Rhea interactions, the person who we're meant to assume pushed her to this path, was not enough. We only had like 2 or 3 separately before the turn, mostly one-on-one, and one of them not even doing anything related to developing Allie's villain arc. I feel like Rhea and Allie should have had a more established dynamic, so it makes more sense as to why she chose to believe her perspective more than her boyfriend and best friend. As someone explained to me in the comments, whichever this was, I forget, but thank you, Rhea being a friend or someone that could be more related to Allie's overall issues made her lean towards Rhea a bit more than someone, say, Hunter, because he doesn't understand, quote-unquote, those issues in a sense. in that case, it's definitely more understandable, but even then, I really wish we'd gotten a more established dynamic there. With Ali rant out the way, we're gonna quickly move on to going next.
That was fun. Come catch me later, okay, Alec?
I'm going to start off who's going next with discussing who I don't think is going. And since we just discussed her, let's welcome Allie. Allie just started her villain arc. I don't see her going. Plus, I think she's in too good of a game position right now to really go. Like, obviously, Jake and Connor are mad at her, but they're not gonna vote her first. They can still try to flip her back or something like that. And plus, it'd be kind of dumb, I'd say, to get her out first compared to the other options they do have. And next up, I'd say, is Gret, who's definitely not going. And I'm talking about this definitely in a more strategic sense, because how on earth can she go unless we pull another Gabby elimination? Because she has deals with, like, everybody here. Everybody needs her vote. I'd again argue she is, like, the best position in game right now. I don't see her going just yet. And now we have the rest of them. Connor has the totem. Now, obviously, he could use it on Jake, and he could go, like, himself. I don't think that's happening if it does happen, I don't think it's happening this coming episode, because I think he has still a bit of plot left with either that be Alec or either that be Rhea. He still has some plot to go, so I don't think he can just head out just yet anyway. And that leaves Alec, Rhea, and Jake. If a hero is going, then it's gonna be Jake, because if Jake does not win immunity, Allie will make sure and do everything in her power to make sure he goes. And Alec and Rhea will go along with that. I don't see why they wouldn't. The only one who might not is Gret, but even then, that's already a tie. So Jake's in danger if he does not win immunity. So I'm gonna put him here. And I think Rhea's fine right now. To be honest, I mean, she could go compared to some of the others, and it's clear the heroes have wanted her gone, like, episode after episode after episode. But in the end, I do think Alec does ultimately have a higher chance of going. Whether that be the fact that Alec can stop apologizing soon, or rather that Connor can forgive him soon and his plot somewhat could be over. I could see him going because of that. And also because I feel like they'd want to defeat Rhea more in, like, the semifinals or, like, final five. That's my take, though. She could be going next, but I think she's fine for now. Or maybe that's just because I want her to stay, because she's literally the only one here who's being mainly strategic, so that could be it. Either way, I'm gonna move on to the conclusion now.
That was fun. Come catch me later, okay, Alec?
So in the end, I did really like this episode. I thought it was a lot better than the last, a huge improvement. I liked most of the characters, most being the highlights. Loved the elimination. Maybe that's just because I've been waiting for so long. Oh my gosh. And the Patreon readings, I have to just mention them real quick because they were incredible. Oh my gosh. I was laughing half the time. But in any case, what were your thoughts on the episode? I would love to hear in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again on the channel. Alright, bye!